So Matthew, y'all, the 27th chapter, verses 50 through 54. If you're there, would you say amen? Amen. Amen. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did shake, and the rocks did split, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept rose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Now the centurion and they that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquake and those things that were done, and they feared greatly, saying, truly, this was the Son of God. And just for a title to tickle your fancy, I want you to know that Corona can't have Christ's crown.
Yeah. Okay.
Corona cannot have Christ's crown.
All right.
You might be seated in the presence of the Lord in this holy place. Lend me your ears, my brothers and sisters, for just a few moments while we might talk about from destruction. Here we are, church number one. Jesus rose over sin. Number two, Jesus rules over Satan. And number three, Jesus rescues from destruction.
All right.
Can I talk for just a little while? We need to understand that the church of God needs to stop admiring itself.
Yeah.
Right.
The church of God needs to stop worshiping at the altar of man.
All right.
But rather, the church of God needs to get back to adoring the Son of Glory.
All right.
Amen.
We've gotten to the point in time when we more admire our dress than we are admiring what's dressed on the inside. We come to a place in church where we admire how much money we have, rather than trusting in the God that has a cattle on 1,000 hills.
Yeah.
We've come to admire how we know how to lift our hands, and we know how to say amen, and we know how to sit on certain places in the church, and we've learned how to be religious. But I stopped by to tell you that in all of our religiousness, we better not miss the Redeemer. We need to understand, church, that we are gathered here today not because of who you are, but because of who he is. The only thing holy about us is that we are covered by the blood of the crucified one. The centurion in the text took note of the things that happened around Christ's death, and he hollered out from his soul, truly, this was the Son of God.
Amen.
Church, you need to realize, if you know the Bible, that sin had reigned in us since Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
And death followed soon after. Just real quick, if I can teach you a couple things, you need to know, here it is, that sin denies your access to God. Sin will defile your relationship with God. And sin will destroy your eternity with God. Here it is. We need to understand that the real problem with sin is that it separates us from God. But in Christ, sin is defeated. Am I right about it in here? Is anybody happy about the fact that you did not have to fight sin on your own, but you got the conqueror of sin down on the inside of you? Jesus didn't die on the cross, but rather he gave up the ghost. And he gave up the ghost to release the spirit into the world. The B-I-B-L-E tells us in Romans 5 and 8 that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for the ungodly. Listen, church, you are not saved because you don't sin. Somebody needs to get it right here. You are not saved because of how holy you are. You are not saved because of how clean you are. But my brothers and my sisters, the real passion of the gospel is that you're saved because Jesus never sinned. I'm so glad that I don't have the requirement placed upon me that I have to live a sinless life. I'm so glad that I don't have to live a perfect life. But I strive to be all that I can be in God. But I'm going to remind you of what the song says. 99 and a half won't do. Because I'm striving to make 100. I stopped by to tell you, I'm not happy with 99 and a half. 99 and a half is still an A in most people's book. So I don't have to worry about being perfect because whatever I can't do, he can do. Somebody ought to say yeah. Before I go on to the next point, let me add right here that the passage says in verse 53, after his resurrection. The word resurrect here is egairo in the Greek, and it's used in the possessive sense. In other words, Christ owned his own resurrection. He had resurrecting power that was granted to him by his Father in heaven. And Christ was lifted. He was lifted to a new life, a new place, and a new dominion in God. Not only did he rise over sin, but watch this, number 2, he rules over Satan. Somebody ought to get happy right there. Because you don't have to worry about what the devil can do, but you ought to worry about what God can do. Here it is. Jesus said, don't worry about who can destroy the body. Worry about who can destroy the soul and the spirit in hell. Watch this as we teach a little further. Rule. The word rule means to have dominion. It means to exercise control over. Rule means to have power over. Church, Satan was given dominion over hell. And while he had dominion in hell, he could hold in prison those who died in their sins. And let me tell you, church, all of our heroes in the Old Testament died in their sins and were in that place that David called Sheol, that place called the dominion of darkness. Can I remind you that Adam was born of the dust and God breathed into his breath, he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, but Adam died. Abraham was a man of faith and was the father of the nation, but Abraham died. Moses was the leader of the people that took them out of Egypt and on the precipice of the promised land. But Moses died. David was the shepherd boy of Jerusalem. He led a great conquering army and was so bad that he defeated Goliath in battle. But I stopped by to tell you that even the mighty David died. Isaiah, the eagle-eyed prophet, who saw down through the journal of time, he lived a great life and saw the Lord high and lifted up. But can I tell you the story of Isaiah? Isaiah was born, but yet he died. Jeremiah, the weeping prophet of Israel, who mourned over the people and their sinfulness. He was so close to God that God had to put him down in a dungeon and remind him of who he was. And God gave him power to get out of the dungeon. But I need to tell you that Jeremiah still died and he was in jail. Malachi, the last prophet of the Old Testament, who declared the goodness of the Lord and that he was on the way. Malachi lived, but yet he died. Is there anybody in the building that would acknowledge with me that I don't know and I don't care how high you are and I don't care how much money you make, I don't care how fine you are, and I don't care if you're the president of the United States, baby, you were born and you're going to die. And I stopped by to tell you that those who died before Christ were held captive in Satan's dungeon. They couldn't get loose. He had a hold to them. They would try to break out because they could see over yonder and see the glory of the Lord. But every time they tried to make a move, Satan would bind them and arrest them and put them back in jail. Every time one of the saints of God would say, I want to see the Lord. I want to go up high. Give me your hand, woman. Is he would be bound and they would be arrested and they would be put back in jail. I don't care how bad you were. I don't care how holy you lived. Once you died, you were put in jail and didn't have bail. But thank God, one day Jesus came and he fought a battle against Satan. And the word of God says, when he died, I said, when he died, the ground shook. When he died, the earth shook and reeled and rocked. You want to know why? It reeled and rocked because Jesus and Satan were battling it out. WWE style. They were battling it out. Hulk Hogan against Jimmy Snooker. And they were jumping off the top rope. And they were grabbing and grappling. But I came to tell you that at the end of the day, Jesus got the victory over the enemy. And everybody that was in a sinner's jail was broken out. Say yeah! Oh yeah! Give your neighbor a high five and say, I'm broke out of jail.
I'm broke out of jail.
Verse 53 declares that physically Satan was defeated. Not only was he defeated, but I got to help you here, he was dethroned. Not only was he dethroned, he was defanged. Not only was he defanged, but he was declawed. I just got done watching this crazy thing called the Tiger King. And the Tiger King was a big bad dude that could tame tigers and lions. But what made Tiger tigers so mean and what made tigers so bad is they had these claws and these teeth that could just take you out. But what I like about the situation is that when you know Jesus, he'll take the power out of the devil. When you know the Lord is on your side, can't have nothing over me. Paul said, death, where is your sting? Where is your victory? Saints, we ought to rejoice right now because God, through Jesus, has given us rule in this world. Watch it. Lastly, we get on out of here. Come on, y'all take your seat. Y'all get woo!
All right.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Amen.
Let me grab it. Let me grab it right here. Because I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you like you need it. Amen, somebody. Amen. Lastly, church, you must know the mission of the Master was always to rescue us from destruction. When you look at the coronavirus under the microscope, it looks like it wears a crown. As a matter of fact, that's where they got the word corona from. It's the Latin word for crown. And I mean to tell you that virus has perturbed Xi Jinping in China. I need to tell you that this virus has punked Putin in Russia. I need to tell you that this virus has trumped Trump in America. They all bow down to the coronavirus. Even the statisticians and the scientists in all of their modeling have predicted that 200, 300, 400,000 people would die from the coronavirus, but they had to back up their prediction, and they had to go back and reanalyze the data. And when they went back and reanalyzed the data, they saw that their modeling had gotten all messed up. And so I want to encourage you, don't you put your trust in a scientist in a laboratory. Don't you put your trust in a statistician that knows numbers. But I'll stop by to encourage the church of God. Put your trust in the Savior. He's the one that brought Mama and Daddy along. He's the one that brought us up out of slavery. He's the one that has all power in his hands. I Church, I feel so passionately about this because we got to realize that we can't put our trust in man. We can't put our trust in scientists. They still can't predict when the weather's going. They say it was going to be cold today and rainy today. But they had to change the model. Come on, somebody. Amen. Who you putting your trust in? I would rather trust in God than trust in man. I need the church of God to know the Bible is still right. The Bible is still the best way. The Bible is still the only way to get to know God for yourself. Come on, let's give the Lord a hand of praise. While the anointing of God is in the house, let's stand. The anointing of God is in the building. Hallelujah.